Somewhere in your first years is a whole life you lived, and you will never get a single second of it back. You learn to walk. You learn to talk. You learn the faces of the people who love you, and you can't remember any of it. You were awake for every moment. You were learning faster than you ever will again. So where did it all go? That's the mystery we're chasing today. And the answer is stranger and far more beautiful than you just forgot. And no, it isn't that babies can't remember. That's the very first idea science throws out. Try it right now. Reach back as far as you can. Your very first real memory. For most of us, the trail thins out and vanishes somewhere around age 3. And underneath that line are years of your own life you simply can't reach. And it's not just you. This near total blank for your first few years happens to almost everyone on Earth. It even has a name, childhood amnesia. It's so normal we barely notice it's strange. Now, it's not a hard wall at your 3rd birthday. It's more like a fog that slowly thins. The memories from about 3 to 7 come back sparse and patchy. A flash here, a fragment there. And then, gradually, they hold. And here's what should really bother you. Those missing years weren't quiet. They were the busiest your brain will ever be. You learned to see, to move, to understand words, to love. The hardest things you'll ever learn, you learn back there. So how can the most important years of your whole life leave almost no trace? Keep that question with you, because the answer is going to flip everything you assume about memory. The obvious answer is simple. Babies just can't make memories yet. Their brains are too new. Clean, comforting, it's exactly what most people believe. There's just one problem. It's wrong. Babies remember all the time, and scientists can prove it. Picture a baby just 2 or 3 months old, lying under a crib mobile. Tie a ribbon from her ankle to the mobile, and she figures out something wonderful. Kick, and the toys dance. She kicks like crazy. Now, take the mobile away. Come back days later, and she sees it and starts kicking right away. She remembered. She remembered for days what that mobile meant. That baby has a memory. So here's the twist that unlocks everything. Memory isn't one thing. There are 2 very different kinds. One is remembering how to walk, how to talk, how to recognize your mother's face. Babies build mountains of that, and they keep it for life. The other kind is remembering that something happened to you. The time you fell off the swing at grandma's. A specific moment in a specific place that you can replay. Scientists call it autobiographical memory, and that's the one, the only one, that goes missing. Feel how the mystery just changed shape? You didn't lose the ability to remember. You kept everything you learned. What vanished is the story, the movie of your own early life, the you were there footage. So why would the brain keep the skills and erase the story? To remember a moment as yours, deep in your brain, a little seahorse-shaped structure gets to work. It's called the hippocampus, and think of it as the filer. It takes a raw experience and stamps it. This happened here to me, so you can find it again later. Here's the thing. In your first years, that filer wasn't finished. The hippocampus and the front of the brain that later helps you search your memories. They keep maturing for years after you're born. The building that stores your life story was still under construction. So the experiences were pouring in, but the system meant to file them as findable, replayable moments, still building itself. And that's just one idea for what's going on. Scientists have a few, and they don't fully agree. This is where it gets genuinely honest, and I think more interesting than a tidy answer. Nobody has solved this. Instead, there are 3 leading suspects, and they might all be guilty together. Let me introduce them. Suspect 1, we've already met, the unfinished filer. If the hippocampus and its partners are still maturing, they may not lock an episode down firmly enough to survive the years. The memory gets written faintly, in pencil, and time rubs it out. Suspect 2 is stranger. In infancy, the hippocampus is flooded with brand new neurons, being born at an astonishing rate. And here's the twist. Cramming new neurons into the circuit can actually disrupt the memories already stored there. Think of waves washing over fresh writing in wet sand. In mice, more of this neuron birth means faster forgetting and slow it down, and the young mice forget less. In humans, it's inferred, not proven, but it's a haunting idea that we forget because we're growing. Suspect 3 might be the most poetic. To store a memory as your story, you may need 2 things a baby doesn't have yet: words and a sense of a continuous me that the story happens to. Imagine trying to file notes in a language you haven't learned yet. The experience happens, but there's no label to file it under, no narrator to say this is happening to me. And here's a clue. Kids build these memories partly through parents asking, "Remember when we?" The story of your life is something you learn to tell. Now, you may have heard a much older answer. Over a century ago, Sigmund Freud named this very blank and claimed you'd repress those years, pushed painful memories down and out of reach. It's a gripping story. It's also wrong. Modern memory science is clear. Childhood amnesia isn't buried trauma waiting to be dug up. It happens to everyone, about the happiest baby and the safest childhood alike. It's not damage. It's just how a growing brain works. And no, you can't hypnotize your way back to them either. Age regression and hypnosis don't reliably recover real early memories. What they reliably do is make people more confident and invent vivid memories of things that never happened. There's no secret unlock button, which raises a wild question. Are the memories even still in there? Here's the turn. There are 2 ways to lose a memory. 1, it was never really written down. 2, it's written down just fine, but you've lost the way to find it. Erased versus unfindable. Very different fates. Picture a vast library where the books of your infancy were shelved, but the card catalog, the index that lets you look anything up, hadn't been installed yet. The books might still be there. You just have no way to search them. So which is it for your baby years? And here's where the science gets thrilling and where I have to be careful with you. In mice, researchers found memories the animal couldn't recall on its own. But when they directly switched the original brain cells back on, the memory came flooding back. The trace had been there all along, just silent. And in 2025, scientists scanned the brains of awake human babies and caught the hippocampus lighting up as it encoded something the babies later showed they'd registered. Which hints the early problem may be less about writing memories down and more about finding them again. But please hold this gently. That is not the same as saying your baby memories are all still in there, safe, waiting for the right key. That mouse work is animal research. The baby scan is new, small, and needs to be repeated. It's a tantalizing open door, not a solved case. And honestly, that uncertainty is the most wonderful part. One of the deepest questions about your own mind, where did my first years go, is still genuinely open. Scientists are chasing it right now. One more thing before we land, and it's a little unsettling. That earliest memory you're so sure of, it might not be a memory at all. Memory isn't a video you play back. Every time you remember, your brain rebuilds the scene from scratch. And into that rebuild, it can quietly fold a photo you've seen 100 times, a story your family loves to tell, a home video. In experiments, many people can even be led to fully remember childhood events that never happened. Your first memory is often part truth, part collage, stitched together long after. So let's go back to that blank one last time, because it was never empty. Think of the forgotten years as scaffolding around a building. While you're being built, they were everywhere, holding, shaping, essential. And when the building was finished, the scaffolding came down. You don't see it anymore, but the whole structure stands because it was there. Those years didn't disappear into nothing. They became you. Every word in the language you're thinking in right now, you learn back there. The faces you love most, you first learned to love in years you can't reach. The self doing this remembering was assembled in the dark before you could keep a single receipt. You can't remember becoming you, but you're the proof it happened. And that might be the most extraordinary thing an ordinary mind ever does. So here's what I have to ask you. What is your earliest memory? The very first one? Drop in the comments. And then be honest with yourself. Is it truly yours, Or did you rebuild it from a photo, a story, a video? I genuinely want to read these. If a plain blank in your own mind just turned into a wonder, that's exactly what we do here at Wonder Beyond. Take the most ordinary things and show you the strange truth hiding inside them. Subscribe and come wonder with us, because the next everyday mystery is already waiting.